Hi, welcome to another episode of Chia Amma.
In today's vlog, I'm gonna share with you the 5 tips to consider before moving to Dubai or any other countries. Bago ka pa mag-resign, iwan ang pamilya, gamitin mo ang ipon mo or mangutang para mag-abroad. Now, first things first, to save yourself time and to make sure that you are making the right decision, ask God. Seek His will first. And of course, if you're married, discuss your plans with your partner and don't forget to check your eligibility and visa requirements in entering the country you're planning to go to. So now let's begin with my tip number 1. Write down your expectations. What are your non-negotiables? Like, is it bringing your spouse with you or bringing your family over? Let's say if you have kids, is your kids schooling your priority? Kung sa trabaho naman, are you only interested in the job role you are targeting? Or maybe you're very particular with living space or maybe climate, etc. So write down the things that you're not willing to compromise. And then you should know your worth and name your price. To determine that, you have to know where you are right now. Nasaan ka ba ngayon in your career or business? Consider not only your present income or salary, but also your growth potential or income potential ng business mo in the next 5 years. At ito ang pagbasihan mo. You can add on to this, of course, your work and life balance, lifestyle, work conditions, etc. And then determine how much of an offer or value is it worth it for you para ipagpalit yung kung ano man ang meron ka ngayon sa Pilipinas at pumunta ka dito sa Dubai or sa ibang bansa. And finally, be very specific with what you want to achieve. Ano ba ang target mo? Having a clear and specific target is very important. Now, once you've established exactly what you're looking for, you can move on to tip number 2, which is reality check. Match your expectations with what the country has to offer. So gather information not only from friends or people you know, but also take advantage of all information available on the web. So search everything you can about the country you're planning to go to. Take note of the cost of living, average salaries in the profession you are targeting, and what type of lifestyle you can afford with the salary range. It's also worth it to check the country's culture, even the weather. So with this, you'll pretty much have an idea on what to expect in the country that you're going to, even before you reach that country. Then match your answers to tip number 1 with what Dubai or other country has to offer based on your research. Moving on to tip number 3. Know your competition. So, check na yung expectation and reality mo. Next question is, do you have what it takes to fill in the position you are targeting? Sa dami-dami ng mga aplikante sa buong mundo, do you think that you have the edge to actually be chosen for that position, whatever that is? So again, make use of the web, take advantage of the internet, go to job sites like Indeed, LinkedIn. From there, you will have an idea what qualifications employers are looking for. So if you're a nurse, for instance, check what specific license they require, like DHA license or HAAD, for example. Or if you are engineer, you would see if they prefer experience from a specific country. Like for instance, in Dubai, some firms prefer candidates with GCC experience. So Take note that in the UAE, most companies are not very particular kung saang university ka nag-graduate sa Pilipinas. Although in some roles like marketing, some employers prefer candidates with MBA. On the other hand, meron din namang mga employers na they don't mind whether you are an undergraduate so long as you are qualified for the position experience-wise. Now, don't get intimidated with the volume of applicants or various nationalities. My only point is you need to come prepared and be fully persuaded na you are qualified for the position na target mo and not be surprised pag nandito ka na. You may start driving your focus towards that goal ngayon pa lang. So, kung meron kang dream job or dream role, makikita mo ang particular certificate for instance or training or qualification na kailangan nila, then you can start working on that. That will give you an advantage, di ba? So, now, alam mo na kung ano yung gusto mo at yung kung ano yung gusto mo nasa Dubai at alam mo sa sarili mo na qualified ka sa role na tina-target mo. The next step is tip number 4, set a budget and timeline. If you are applying through an agency, then you have to know all the costs you have to shoulder. In my case, I was hired from Eddie Staff Builders and I had to cover my medical test. Now, if you're coming here on visit, then you have to anticipate all the costs such as, of course, your travel ticket, visa cost, possible visa extension depending on your timeline. If you are not confident in going through immigration and choose to cross country, then of course consider the extra costs na involved doon. Once you're here, consider the living expenses, especially if you have to pay for your rent. Dito kasi hindi uso yung libre tira. Even if you have relatives or friends, for instance, unless sila talaga ang nagre-rent ng whole place, then you would still have to pay for the space that you would take up dun sa kung saan sila nakatira. Now, depending on your answers to tip number 1 and 2, of course, your expectations and preferences or your flexibility, your budget and timeline will be greatly affected on that. So, let's say, for example, if you are flexible in the type of role na makuha mo, you're willing to start in a lower level, for instance, as compared to ang preferred mo lang is yung target na position mo. Of course, your budget and timeline will vary depending on that. Now, I won't recommend na kunin mo kahit anong trabaho lang. Dito sa UAE, mahirap mag-shift ng industry dahil ang titignan nila is your last held position. So better kahit hindi sa desired role mo, basta within the same industry ang hanapin mo na trabaho. But never settle sa wala kang choice or napasubo ka lang. Okay lang na magsimula ka sa maliit or even sa mahirap, but you must always have a goal in mind that eventually ma-achieve mo rin yung target mo in due time, and that will serve as your motivation. May mga kabayan tayo na nag-start sa housekeeping na attendant or cleaning attendant na mabilis din ang promotion nila to team leader, supervisor, and even manager sa facility management. And lastly, you should know when it is wiser to just go back home and still be on your feet. If you are in a position just because you thought that you had no choice, I suggest you take a step of faith, even if that means starting again. After all, the most valuable thing in life is time. Now, it's a totally different story. If it was God who sent you, then you have to lay hold in all your ways, acknowledge Him, and He will direct your paths. After all, if it's God's will, It's God's will. We are now down to my last tip, but certainly not the least. Can you make any guesses? Tip number 5, timing. Timing can be everything. You may have ticked all the boxes but arrived at the wrong time. You might still miss it. Recently, being unemployed or dahil galit ka sa boss mo or dahil may utang kang bayaran does not mean that is the best time na mag-abroad. It's critical that you identify the worst time to visit the country and avoid that period. As an example, if the economy in the country is not doing well, or during idle hiring season such as long public holidays or reduced working hours such as Ramadan. Now, if you ask me how to know when is the best time to go, you ask God for wisdom. That's how you get to the right place at the right time with the right people, doing the right thing, and getting good results. And that ends today's episode. I hope you enjoyed the video. I'll be posting in our channel about the cost of living in the UAE soon and other related videos. Please do watch out for them. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to our channel. See you in Dubai!